Hello and welcome to the Vortex Dunlop Ford Fiesta Championship. Changeable conditions here on the Snetterton 300 circuit. 4 races, 2 for each class, and it'll be wheel to wheel all day long. I can't wait. Well, with me is the man who makes everything tick over in the Ford Fiesta Championship, and that's the organiser, Kevin Shortis. Kevin, this season we've seen some fantastic grids out there on the circuit.
Yeah, well, I'm pleased to say we're now in the second half. In fact, we're starting the second half of the race season here at Snetterton, and we've maintained excellent grid coverage, and we were well up on last year, so I'm really pleased about that.
And what do you think that boils down to? Is it just the nature of the championship as a race series, or is there more to it?
Well, I would like to think it's down to good organisation, but I'm not that vain. No, it's down to support from the teams and drivers, and I think we've got a really good, cost-effective package. And Fiestas are really a buzzword at the moment and have been for a few years, so I'm really pleased that people are supporting it the way they do it.
And I'm quite aware of the fact that there might be some exciting news on the horizon re Ford racing in this country.
Well, there's a possibility, or more perhaps a probability. I've been asked by now several competitors who are racing elsewhere that I look at the feasibility of reinstating the Ford Saloon Car Championship, which we let drop away, I suppose, a few years ago. But there is now a groundswell of support to ask me to look at that for 2014. So I'm in the process of doing that at the moment. I do have a set of regulations already in being, as I do maintain every year. So it's just a case of fine-tuning things to see what the level of interest is, what type of cars are going to come forward, so I can do that. And if anybody is interested, they're very welcome to call me, and they can also look up on the website on www.fordracing.eu. Give me a call.
So we could well see 2 very different disciplines of Ford racing next year, just as close.
Yeah, I think it's a very real possibility. How strong it will be, I can't comment on at the moment, but I'm really quite excited about it, and it would be really, really nice to get that one back in the portfolio.
Cars on the grid for round 9 of the championship. David Elsley on pole, Daniel Holland alongside. Then it's Andrew Foley and Lee Napolitano. Aaron Trigwell 5th and Nick Bowers in 6th place. 7th is Matt Foley, then Nathan Lawley and Curtis Mitchell. Jordan Annell's 10th from Simon Horobin and Elliot Stafford. 13th on the grid, Kevin Sterling, then Charlie Liddell, Joe Ferguson 15th and Sagir Hussain on his outside. Then Bobby Thompson and Rory Green 18th. 19th is Josh Reed with Jamie going alongside. Then it's Rex Nye and Nick Barton. Alfonso Skritska 23rd. Then William Torreson, Dawn Boyd and Joanne Eason making it on all-lady row 13. Richard Kemp and Ronnie De Bressa completing the 28-car grid. It's going to be very crowded as they go down to Riches for the first time on the 3-mile Snetterton 300 circuit. Green flag from the back of the field, and we're ready to go. Lights on for round 9 into the second half of the season here. And away they go. Cracking start by all of them. Nice, neat and tidy. It could be a different matter when they go down to Riches for the first time, though. Elsley a little bit sluggish off the line. And it's Daniel Holland that leads. Up into second place goes Andrew Foley. Great start by Foley. There is Rex Nye, car number 44 in red, chasing the green car. Rory Green appropriately as they go around Riches for the first time. Now down to the 180-degree Montreal corner. 3 wide in places, but they sort themselves out. There is Elliot Stafford, the turquoise and black car, number 99. Elliot graduating from the British Racing and Sports Car Club Mighty Mini Championship. He was a front runner there, slotting into the Fiesta Championship exceptionally well, coping with the bigger cars very well indeed and learning his way. I'm sure we're going to see him climb through the order as his career with the Ford Fiestas continues. Nathan Lawley chasing Matt Foley. Behind them, Simon Horobin looking to make a pass. The black car with the orange and white stripes on, going up towards Hamilton Corner. Couple of cars being forced wide as they come out of Agostini. This very tight, twisty Snetterton circuit is basically the old boring circuit, we say, with the a really excellent piece on the inside now. The circuit owner Jonathan Palmer putting in an infield part, which is where they're doing, and it's absolutely transformed the circuit. Some cars do race on the 200 circuit as well. That's been made slightly more interesting with a chicane as they come out of Montreal, rather than it being a hairpin and running down the Bentley Straight. But the 300 circuit, for my money, a wonderful place. It is, if you're on some parts of the track as a spectator, a long wait for the cars to come round, but there's an awful lot of circuit you can see from the back of the paddock. So that's the commentator's tip for where to watch here at Snet. You can see an awful lot of the track, and of course hear what's going on elsewhere via the circuit commentary team. But at the moment, the race panning out quite well, the position settling down. There's the championship leader, Nick Bowers, chasing David Elsley, former champion, running in fourth. Lee Napolitano ahead of him. Andrew Foley still looking for his first win this year in car number 88 as they go along the centre straight for the first time. Most of the cars going up tight to the pit wall. They won't get anything meaningful until they've done a flying lap, but at least the teams will know the positions of the cars now. And a challenge on from Foley, who looks down the inside, but it doesn't pay off for him. Too far back at the moment, but a wide sweep should give him momentum now. David Elsley still chasing hard. The race leader's in front, closes up as you'd expect under braking, turns in, look at the speed, look how hard he's working the car through the complex, gets it all back in line, runs through the bomb hole, down in towards Coram, still chasing hard. You can see Napolitano trying to nibble away at the race lead that Andy Foley's got at the moment. Matt Foley's best line, he's in fourth place, Matt Foley, best time for him at 2 minutes 18. The lap times really vary between the drivers, so a fairly big differential. The slowest driver's lapping in 2:20, and average speed still in excess of 75 miles per hour. Down the straight they go, so just 3 miles to go. Driving standards flag going out to somebody, not sure who that is, but it will be posted as a general warning. Foley a little bit bouncy around Rich's corner for the last time. Now on the run down, Elsley gets it very ragged indeed. Elsley on a real charge, but Foley bounce around Montreal we go, down towards Palmer again. Still in second place, Lee Napolitano. I've no reason to think this is going to change on the last lap. Dust being kicked up in the background from some more cars, but Foley, once he got into the lead on the start of lap number 2, has looked very, very handy indeed. There is a point for the fastest lap. And at the moment, the fastest lap is, I think, with Andrew Foley, 2 minutes 17.5. No, it's Lee Napolitano, 2:17.512. So Napolitano slightly quicker on lap 8. This is lap 9 of the race. Elsley still chasing. There's Matt Foley still running in fourth place. And have we had a change for fifth? Have we got? Let's have a look and see what's happened to Nick Bowers. Well, we're focusing on the race leaders at the moment. Of course, that's most important at this stage of the race. Coming out of the complex, heading towards the Bentley Straight for the last time. Andrew Foley is still there, and the TWS car looks on course for a win. Rory Green coming under pressure from Sagir Hussain. Rory at the moment in 21st place, Sagir chasing him hard. Then it's Joanne Eason behind them. Joanne leading the unofficial Coupe des Dames at the moment. And now David Elsley's had an absolute charge on this last lap, and he's caught Lee Napolitano for second place. Where did Elsley pull that lap from? The car working absolutely fantastically. So it's Andrew Foley heading down to Coram for the last time. Lee Napolitano now has got his mirrors full of the former champion as they're on the last lap. If Elsley could have pulled that out a few laps ago, I wonder if he's had perhaps something of a slight intermittent problem with the car. He's really pedalled around this last lap. Foley, though, out of Murray's for the last time, will take the checkered flag and his first win of the season. Foley's going to do it. It's a long run, a long centre straight. There's the checker. Andrew Foley wins it. Elsley takes third, and he's got the fastest lap on the last lap of the race. David Elsley, 2 minutes 16.7. That's an extra point for him. There's Matt Foley. Fourth was Matt Foley, with Nathan Lawley getting ahead of Nick Bowers, Aaron Trigwell, then Simon Horrobin, followed by Curtis Mitchell, Elliot Stafford rounding out the top 10. So a cracking meeting opener for us in the Vortex Dunlop Ford Fiesta Championship, and it's Andrew Foley who takes his first win of the season. Lee Napolitano second, with the man who got the fastest lap, David Elsley, to add to his pole position fastest point, I should say. Then Matthew Foley fourth from Nathan Lawley. Nick Bowers fifth, Aaron Trigwell in sixth from Simon Horrobin and Curtis Mitchell, Elliot Stafford 10th, Jordan Annells 11th from Dan Holland, So Dan recovering after a moment off the circuit. Then Joe Ferguson and Charlie Liddell. Kevin Sterling 15th from Bobby Thompson and Rex Nye. Josh Reed in 18th position. He was followed by Jamie Going and William Torreson. Rory Green 21st from Sagir Hussain and Joanne Eason. Dawn Boyd 24th. And then Richard Kemp and Alfonso Skritska getting his first senior finish in 26th place.
Well, first race win of the season then for Andrew Foley. How tough was that, my friend?
That was very tough. It's cooled down a bit today, but I'm a bit hot and bothered. A lot of pressure from behind, put a lot of pressure on myself to get the result as well. But that's about as good as it gets for me. I was really happy with that.
I mean, the action on the track, the wheel-to-wheel between you all, it was like something out of a Hollywood movie.
I couldn't really see what was going on behind. I could see David Ellerslie. I knew he was quick and he was going to be there towards the end of the race. But Lee Napolitano, he pushed me, but just managed to keep him behind.
So how's that going to work for race 2? Is it going to be easy to hang on to the advantage?
Race 2, I think it'll be just as hard, if not harder. I'm looking forward to it. Nice to start from pole position.
Well done, buddy. First win.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Want to keep up with all the racing action at the track? Well, download the new Go Racing TV iPhone and Android app. And remember to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
First race for classes A, B and D here at Snetterton. Remember our second visit of the season. And pole position going to David Abbott in the Ford Fiesta Zetec S. So Abbott takes up his position on the front row. Alongside him is James Appleby. Alan Donnelly in pole position for Class A. Chris Tomazis due to be beside him, but not there at the moment. Then Ian Scruton. Ken Bateman is pole position for Class B. Andrew Mollison 7th on the grid. And then Peter Lloyd and Mike Hooper. Peter Dendy Sadler 10th. Grid completed by Keith Chapman, and the returning in yellow at the back of the field there, Nick Tiley for his last week. This is a farewell meeting for Nick Tiley, so we wish him well on his home circuit. Away they go. Down towards Riches for the first time. A modest grid, but remember, separated from the Class Cs because of the overall entry is too big to cater for all the cars. And Alan Donnelly goes into the lead at Riches. Donnelly's first pole position in Class of the Year. There's Andy Mollison, Nick Tiley in car number 40. Running well to the outside line, so we'll see what Nick can do in his last meeting. Wonderful to see him on track. But Alan Donnelly leads from David Abbott. James Appleby being squeezed by Ian Scruton. Coming up the inside is Ken Bateman, the white car with the red stripe, but Donnelly leads through Palmer. David Abbott in second place at the moment. And we'll see whether Abbott's going to make a manoeuvre here. He's slotted the car up the inside, and I think just eking his nose in front. He's certainly got the line as they come down into Agostini. So Abbott through into the overall lead. The veteran championship leader in Class D. He's got James Appleby for company once again this weekend, and we go on board with the young Yorkshireman. Great to see him back. And he, of course, has now got to contend with the Class A car of Alan Donnelly. Donnelly will want to keep Appleby behind him because it's a little bit of a cushion back to Ian Scruton. Scruton, the championship leader, 125 points. Alan Donnelly will now have broken the 100-point barrier with the single point that he gets from qualifying in pole position. Appleby looking at the inside, and here they come down the straight side by side with the Ulster-based driver Donnelly. Through he goes. So Appleby now with a clear run at the race leader David Abbott. Be lovely to see some more of these Class D Zetec S cars out. Really do look the part. So Appleby with a neat manoeuvre up into second, and you can see what I meant about the cushion, because through comes Ian Scruton side by side, and Ian Scruton, as they come into the bomb hole, takes the class lead from the pole sitter, or does he? They're still side by side. I think there might have been a little bit of a clatter there. Ken Bateman's in the mix as well. The car behind them, the red and white car, is the Class B leader, but Alan Donnelly drives well, keeps the momentum going on the outside, and retains the class lead from the championship leader, Ian Scruton. In terms of the championship for Class A, it's Scruton, Donnelly, and then Peter Dendy Sadler. He's in the black and green car. as opposed to the green and black car of Alan Donnelly. Through goes David Abbott, still in lead position. Abbott unbeaten so far this year. There was a gap of 1.8 seconds to James Appleby in the qualifying session. And James, of course, is familiarising himself with the car. He's not had the mileage that David Abbott's got, and he hasn't got the racing experience that David's got as well in the Fiesta Championship. So this is very much about a learning experience for James. It's good that he's taken the initiative and joined the class, and let's hope, as I say, that we can see a few more of them out. It's a very attractive proposition coming and racing the current shape, and they look great and they handle very well indeed. Look at the older cars still enjoying battle. Alan Donnelly under pressure from Ian Scruton, who looks round the outside. The Hampshireman putting pressure on the man from Cookstown at the moment. They come out of Agostini. It's a very good performance so far from Class B, with Ken Bateman leading from Andrew Mollison in 77. Mollison leads the championship there, 6 points clear of Ken Bateman at the moment, so that particular trophy still a long way to go as we enter the second half of the Vortex Dunlop Ford Fiesta Championship season. Now, last time we were at Castle Combe, and of course it was very much a case of Castle Combe being the circuit it is licensed to run the full field, so we had in excess of 30 cars on track at the time. Snetterton gives the A, Bs and D classes the chance to have their own race, which means we have slightly fewer cars, as we said at the start of the race, but that's actually due to the success of the championship as a whole. Donnelly kicks up a little bit of dirt as they go down into the bomb hole. Still Scruton in second place, trying to close down on him. James Appleby in front. David Abbott down to second. There's Alan Donnelly running in third. Then it's Ian Scruton. So Alan told me after the last meeting, we gave him a bit of plug for the Demon Tweaks logo on the side of the car. Apparently you don't get anything for TV coverage for Demon Tweaks. Well, they need to sort that out. So Alan, knock on the door and see if you can get a voucher, and any other drivers that have got the DT logos on. But I guess you might get some pictures which tend to do it. So Alan Donnelly on his way into the closing stage. He's running well and looking for another win to add to perhaps close up the championship lead by 2 points. James Appleby out front though, the Yorkshireman. This is going to be, if he can hang on to it, I'm not going to discount David Abbott yet, but he hasn't had a Fiesta win. Always a pleasure to see James and his dad at the circuits. They enjoy their racing. They work hard at it, of course, during the weeks to come out and race. Through Palmer, David Abbott is beginning to close up. Abbott was fastest on lap 5, but I think that's about to change. Abbott trying to close up again. Appleby down into Agostini. You can see Alan Donnelly now well clear of Ian Scruton, so there's a gap developed between the two of those. Appleby down into Hamilton once again. David Abbott still trying to close in ever so slightly later on the brakes. Flash of green tells us that Donnelly's still there in third place. Ian Scruton as well, the flash of red and yellow saying that fourth place is still held by the Class A car. So Appleby down onto the straight. He's had a whole lap in front now, so this is going to be very confidence building for the youngster. Down the straight we go once again. David Abbott trying to close up, but at the moment can't do anything. This is going to be maybe David Abbott's first defeat. Closes up big time as they come down into Brundle. The gap down to a couple of car lengths. Closes up even more as they go through Nelson and down towards the bomb hole. But Appleby still looking pretty good at the moment into Coram. Got a good gap still back to Alan Donnelly, out to around about 15 seconds at the moment, this pair. So the Zetec S is performing well, and David Abbott starting to put the pressure on. Here comes the veteran, outside line at Murray's, goes for it, can't quite do it, hasn't got the grip to hang on to it on the outside, loses a bit of ground, and James Appleby breathes to live another day as they come down the straight. So here comes Appleby onto the last lap here at Snetterton, but he's coming under pressure again from David Abbott. James Appleby leads. The poleman David Abbott, the championship leader, is still there, and I don't think there's any reason to say that David Abbott, of course, is going to have the championship lead taken from under him over the second half of the season, with James, of course, only having done the one round. But for them, it's all going to be about how the races pan out for the rest of the season. And at the moment, the 27 car has got the upper hand through Palmer for the last time. You get the impression from what we saw on the penultimate lap that David Abbott's not finished yet. He's still gunning for it. Flash of cars through the back. Appleby still in front, down to Agostini. How defensive is Appleby going to get? Well, the answer there is that he's far enough to take the full racing line. It was a wide sweep in, good confident stuff from the youngster once again. Puts a wheel on the curbs on the way out, but nothing near like exceeding track limits at all. We did have a couple of issues in qualifying with the Class C cars, with I think 4 cars having times disallowed for exceeding track limits, but no problems at all with any of the racers here. And Appleby nips the curb there. Abbott still chasing hard, and I think for my money maybe starting to close in again. Down the Bentley straight for the last time. What has David Abbott got in reserve? He tried the outside manoeuvre at Murray's last time, and it looks like he's on a flyer here. He's closing in as they come down the straight. Appleby still taking the racing line into Brundle, so this is confident stuff from Appleby. It's not compromising his speed, but here comes Abbott closing in as they go down towards the bomb hole. Abbott now within 1 car length of the race leader. Well, actually, it opens up. It's bigger than that, isn't it? The front on camera angle, flattering to deceive, through Coram Corner, and James Appleby his heart's going to be thumping. This could be his first win in the Fiestas. Coming down in towards Murray's. This is where Abbott is blindingly quick. He was last time, but didn't have the grip to stick it out, and he's going to have to settle for second. It's the run along the centre straight, and James Appleby is going to take his first win. David Abbott's having a go. He's got close, but not close enough. Across the line they go. James Appleby, congratulations to him, taking the win. And David Abbott was trying hard. He got the fastest lap of the race on the last tour and takes the extra point for that, a 2:23.059. Well, that was an incredible lap from David Abbott. But well done to James Appleby, who takes the win. There is Alan Donnelly, who picks up the win in Class B, just ahead of Ian Scruton. And Andy Mollison coming through to take victory in Class B. Thumbs up for James Appleby, who takes the win from David Abbott. Alan Donnelly winning Class A. Ian Scruton second. Class B honours going to Andy Mollison from Ken Bateman. So Andy getting his revenge on Ken's pole position. 7th place goes to Peter Dendy Sadler ahead of Keith Chapman. Peter Lloyd in 9th and Mike Hooper in 10th.
Some of the biggest upheavals in American sports is in the world of motor racing, especially sports car racing. There's mergers, new series being proposed, audiences coming and going, drivers getting younger and younger. That's why you need the Racing Insiders on MAV TV to help you navigate the turmoil. The Racing Insiders is a new, weekly, 30-minute news show covering sports car racing, whether it's being done professionally, globally, or by the local grassroots club. Award-winning journalist Bill Wood will host the weekly discussions, along with race-winning insiders Peter Keene in Florida and Jim Daniels in Tennessee. It's a fast-paced, edgy sports show. They'll even reach out to guest insiders to bring you behind-the-scenes insider information you'll want to know. This new era in sports car racing needs the Racing Insiders.
The Racing Insiders on MAV TV, Thursdays at 2 and 5 p.m. Eastern, and again on Saturdays at noon.
This is round 10 of the Vortex Dunlop Ford Fiesta Championship. Pole position going to Andrew Foley with Lee Napolitano alongside. Then it's David Elsley and Matt Foley, Nathan Lawley and Nick Bowers on row 3. Fourth row, Aaron Trigwell, then Simon Horrobin, Curtis Mitchell 9th, Elliot Stafford in 10th place, then Jordan Annels and Dan Holland, who finished 12th, of course, in race number 1. Joe Ferguson 13th with Charlie Liddell next to him, then Kevin Sterling and Bobby Thompson. Rex Nye 17th with Josh Reed next to him. 19th on the grid, Jamie Going, William Torreson, Rory Green, Sagir Hussain, Joanne Eason and Dawn Boyd 24th. The grid completed with Richard Kemp, Alfonso Skritska 26th, then Nick Barton and Ronnie de Bresser at the back of the 28 car field. So Andrew Foley looking to try and make it a double on his outside. Lee Napolitano gave him a good run for his money in round number 9. Lights out, away we go here at Snetterton. Let's see whether things are going to change championship-wise. Nick Bauer's championship lead being eroded ever so slightly, but it's a great start from the pole position man this time. Andrew Foley leads. Lee Napolitano around the outside. Matt Foley in 4th, trying to go around the outside. There is Elliot Stafford. Bobby Thompson in 19 on his outside. 46 you caught a look of there. White and green car of Jamie Going, running well at the start, but Andrew Foley lifts a wheel as they go through the hairpin for the first time. Everybody clean and tidy. Excellent driving standards, but having said that, Nick Bowers gets in on the dirt. Aaron Trigwell looks up the inside into Palmer's. Trigwell goes through, past Bowers, the championship leader, loses another place and potentially valuable championship points. Down into Agostini for the first time. First and second look settled. It's a bun fight for third. Look at Simon Horrobin going on the outside line. David Elsley holding him up. Or I should say probably defending successfully is the better turn of phrase as they go out of Agostini. A little bit of door handling on the exit of the corner as we go down the order. Still some places to sort out. The grid based on the results of race number 1, of course, which means that Nick Barton and Ronaldus de Bresser have a little bit of work to do, having non-finished in the first race. Ronnie only getting 1 lap of action. Nick Barton went off on lap number 7. Or I should say after completing 7 laps. So there is championship leader Nick Bowers, who's seeing that lead ever so slightly eroded in the first race. Chasing Nathan Norleo and his best ever finish in race number 1. That's going to be a huge confidence builder for Nathan. And he's going to start to try and work his way towards the top of the championship standings. And I suggest on the performances he's putting in now that could well be a championship favourite for the 2014 season. Andrew Foley still out front. Lee Napolitano in second. Then Matt Foley now in third ahead of David Elsley. So Foley's very definitely making their mark, aided and abetted by reigning champion Jason Cooper, who was so dominant last season. Bobby Thompson running well in car number 19, the car with the red stripe just underneath the side windows. And he's made progress on his grid position. Elliot Stafford running wide. Sagir Hussain goes through. So Sagir on an absolute mission at the moment. Jamie Going's going to try and nip through as well. Elliot Stafford not looking too happy at the moment. Gets halfway across the track. And through goes Nick Barton. Great manoeuvre by Nick Barton. Slices through past Jordan Annels. Tries to pass another car as well as they come into Murray's. Outside line is Rex Nye, who gets tagged and he's off and over. Elliot Stafford side by side with Rex Nye into the gravel. That is a nasty looking incident. To be the gravel, great at slowing down cars, as I've said many times before, but the cars dig in and then tip over fairly easily, and poor old Rex always seems to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. That is a very sad end to his race. Let's hope that he's okay in the car. Marshall's on the scene quite quickly. Red flags will mean that we have to have a restart to this 20-minute race. It must be the most disorientating thing. I must admit it's not something that's ever happened to me, being upside down in a race car. And the marshal's just making sure that Rex is okay. Door open. And Rex is okay. The car's forming up on the grid pretty quickly for our restart. Lee Napolitano on the outside of the front row in the 24 car. 88 Andrew Foley, who's got to do it again. The start discipline, of course, so key to any motor race. David Elsley lines up in 4th. He was 3rd in race 1, so by virtue of the fact we're a couple of laps in, gets to start on the outside. Nick Bowers in 6. On his inside, it's Simon Horrobin. Simon in the 14 car, best result so far for him, the result that he had 8th position in the first race, but away they go. Lee Napolitano taking the battle to Andrew Foley as they go down into Riches. Good clean start, missing obviously a few cars now, which is a great shame. And Napolitano's being challenged very heavily there as they go down into, and look, he runs wide and Matt Foley goes through. David Elsley was the man putting the pressure on, and Napolitano gets bundled out right down the order. So too is David Elsley. That's going to be good news for Nick Bowers, who's in the mix there, but Bowers has still got the Foley brothers in front of him, and they're going to be taking points. There's a spin across the track and all sorts of chaos is let loose as they come through Palmer's. We've got a car on the grass joining rapidly back into the field. I thought that could have been a nasty rejoin there. As it was, it looked to be a quick but safe one. Elliot Stafford with the hazard warning lights on. Jamie going in 46. Gets through Agostini well. A few problems down at the back of the field. Simon Horrobin at the moment ahead of Nick Bowers. Matthew Foley is in front. Simon Horrobin, this is actually only his, let me see, first, second, third, fourth meeting, best of 9th place before the meeting. So he's another driver a little bit like Nathan Lawley, who's really bedding himself into the formula well. And of course that means that when he comes back next season, he'll have that extra confidence of moving up. Maybe he or Nathan will take a win before the end of this year. But Horrobin, best result of 8th place, that was in the first race. So Nathan Lawley taking his best as well. So we're seeing drivers joining the championship, building their confidence and getting better and better and starting to challenge the more established runners. Sakir Hussain leading from former champion David Elsley there. David trying to recover after his moment off the track, fighting hard with Lee Napolitano earlier on. Let's see if the Danoff car can be challenged. Comes off line, Elsley struggling with the outside line there. Now it's down to the inside, can't quite do it, but having a very good go. You can see now the onboard that we had earlier on in race number 1 from David showed a much more relaxed driving style, and David clearly now has got the bit between, look at that, there's the proof, he's got the bit between his teeth. He just wants to get on with the job now. Andrew Foley onto his last lap. Nick Bowers second, Simon Horrobin in third. He's going to take a best result, Simon, with third place. A first podium for him in the championship, in the offing, if he can fend off Matt Foley. This is where Foley went off 3 or 4 laps ago. This time keeps it neat and tidy. Lee Napolitano still trying to close in. David Elsley running in 6th place. I think he's far enough behind for Lee to close in, and Horrobin's gone through on the inside of Bowers to reclaim 2nd place. Simon Horrobin into 2nd position, and Nick Bowers is going to rue that. He's still going to have the championship lead. Now, fastest lap of the race on the last tour to David Elsley, so he's going to get the point for that. So Andrew Foley will climb now, if things stay the way they are in terms of the fastest lap, to 128 points. Nick Bowers, if he finishes third, will be on 129. So it's going to be a single point in the championship before we move to the first of 2 visits to Brands Hatch in the tail end of the season. So it really is shaping up, or I should say continuing to be, a vastly competitive championship. But Simon Horrobin and Nathan Lawley, the 2 newcomers for the 2013 season, have really impressed me at this meeting. And there's Horrobin getting onto the podium. He's not quite there yet. And Matt Foley, look at him challenging the championship leader. Nick Bowers still coming under pressure. Down the Bentley straight for the last time. Let's have a look and see what Matt Foley can do. Has he got an answer for the car in front? He's going to look to the inside line, maybe as they come into Brundle. No, he isn't, because the championship leader just moves across, takes an ever so slightly defensive line, hangs on to position. But Andrew Foley, having spoken of course about the newcomers to the championship, let's take absolutely nothing away from Andrew Foley. Qualified third, got into the lead of race number 1 on the early part of lap 2 with a great manoeuvre, precision driving down the inside into the hairpin at Montreal. And as we said, since then he hasn't been headed. He had 2 starts to contend with in this race, which he did perfectly, and he's led superbly, and the reward for that is there. The checkered flag being waved now. It's a double for Andrew Foley, who gets to a point within the championship lead. There is Simon Horrobin second, Nick Bowers third from Matt Foley, Lee Napolitano. Here's the recovering David Elsley across the line in 6th place. Then it's Nathan Lawley, another good result for Nathan. Dan Holland up into 8th from outside the top 10. Then it's Nick Barton, Sagir Hussain crosses the line as well. Elliot Stafford just behind him. And then Jamie Going, William Torreson, the rest of the field coming through. A bruising encounter, that one. Particularly, of course, sadly for Rex Nye. Let's hope that Rex will be back and battling at Brands Hatch in a few weeks' time. But confirmation of the win for Andrew Foley. Simon Horrobin second, first podium for him. Then Nick Bowers, Matt Foley fourth, Lee Napolitano. Fastest man was David Elsley in 6th place. 7th goes to Nathan Lawley from Dan Holland, Nick Barton 9th, then Sagir Hussain and Elliot Stafford, Jamie Going in 12th. 13th place goes to William Torreson, and then Jordan and else from Charlie Liddell. Charlie, the top rookie graduate. Kevin Sterling 16th from Joanne Easton, who wins the ladies' battle again. Richard Kemp in 18th from Alfonso Skritska. Ronaldo Stubressa in 20th and Dawn Boyd 21st. So championship-wise, Nick Bowers leads the championship, 129 points plays. Andrew Foley on 128, Matt Foley on 118, jointly with David Elsley in 3rd place.
Want to keep up with all the racing action at the track? Well, download the new Go Racing TV iPhone and Android app. And remember to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Cars on the grid for race 2 here at Snet. James Appleby on pole, alongside him David Abbott, then Alan Donnelly and Ian Scruton, 1 and 2 in Class A. Class B, Andy Mollison and Ken Bateman, then Peter Dendy Sadler and Keith Chapman, Peter Lloyd and Mike Hooper, with Nick Tiley starting at the back of the field, Nick having brake problems in race 1. Nick racing with a picture of his dad on board, sadly lost his dad a few weeks ago, so our thoughts with Nick and the family as he competes in his swan song race in the Fiestas. For now, let's hope that he comes back. There's Nick in yellow at the back of the field, made a great start to race number 1, and off the line well the whole field. James Appleby leads, but it's Ian Scruton that gets away on the outside in yellow, trying to pass Alan Donnelly, on board with Peter Dendy Sadler, down into Riches. There's Keith Chapman, 3rd in Class B. Gets in front of the Class A car. That's a significant move. That gives him a clear run. Andy Mollison in front. The white car with the blue stripes running 2nd in class has lost out on the class lead. Now look at Chapman looking round the outside. Can he hang on? Side by side at the moment with Andy Mollison. He's got the front end of the car virtually level with the rear of Mollison's car. Andy, I think, is going to give him room. Down into the left-hander at Palmer. Side by side. And Keith Chapman's through into 2nd in class. But it's Ian Scruton leading in yellow. Alan Donnelly is 2nd, the green car. 3rd, James Appleby. 4th place, David Abbott. Then it's Ken Bateman running in 5th place, leading Class B. Lots of different battles going on. Nick Tiley's made up a place or 2 already, which is good to see from the back of the field in Class A. He'll be hoping to try and get up onto the podium. Nick at the moment chasing Peter Lloyd in the black and gold car. But there is Ken Bateman in 55, race leader in Class B at the moment, and chasing the 2 D machines. James Appleby out front. Ian Scruton very quick off the line. That was a real handy start from him, getting the drop on Alan Donnelly, who's got to try and close down. But now James Appleby getting involved in the mix. So 1 overall race win for the young Yorkshireman so far. Down the straight we go. He'll maybe move across and look at the left-hand side of the circuit and to the entry into the left-hander. That'll make things fairly tight for him, but it's the traditional pass. Having said that, going across line earlier is Donnelly challenging for the lead. So the 2 Class A cars still battling it out. Out of Nelson, down towards the bomb hole. Appleby chasing hard. The one thing that now Alan Donnelly will be very defensive at this stage. At the moment he's attacking, but he'll go defensive from Appleby because he won't want James Appleby between himself and Ian Scruton. Little dab on the brake lights there. Appleby seems to be carrying a little bit more speed. The handling of these cars on the twisty parts of the circuit seems to play. And look at Appleby. Past 2 cars, is he? No, past 1 car. Very nearly 2 for the price of 1. And goes through into 2nd position. But Alan Donnelly is retaliating, fighting back, outside line, reclaims 2nd position. Great bit of racing between the classes here, but Ian Scruton, not a bad lead actually as they come across the line on that one. Nobody hanging out the pit signals. It all seems to be quiet. There's Nick Tiley going through, now past Peter Lloyd. So Ian Scruton out front. Remember, he's one of the people that you could talk to if you want to come and race this sort of car. Oh, big sideways moment for Donnelly, who tries the Drift Championship, collects it all back and rejoins just in front of Ken Bateman. Now, that wouldn't have been any class points down the Swanee, but he's lost a lot of ground on the class leader and indeed the overall race leader. So Ian Scruton out front, James Appleby second, Alan Donnelly down to fourth, still David Abbott in third. Up to Agostini corner. We should again... Oh, hazard lights on for James Appleby. Definitely wasn't a hazard there. Donnelly and Bateman now engaged in a little bit of a battle. A gap back to Keith Chapman running in third. Andy Mollison now down behind Peter Dendy Sadler. So Andy seems to have lost a bit of momentum from his first race class win. Still in charge in terms of the championship, and if he can finish, he won't lose too many points. Just a reminder on the points situation, it's 16 points for a win, 14 for second, 13 for third. Alan Donnelly's got to get his head down and try and catch the guys in front of him again now. So James Appleby going for the lead meanwhile as they go down into Brundle. Side by side, can he do it? It's a wide sweep around the outside line from the race leader, so Ian Scruton maintains lead position. Down towards the bomb hole, David Abbott is there as well, and Abbott wants to get a little bit of revenge for losing out in the first, and Abbott coming through. In fact, they're both going to have a go on the leader. Abbott gets a wheel on the inside and goes through past Appleby. David Abbott up into second place, and significantly class lead retaken for Abbott, and now past Scruton as well. Two cars in two corners. That is the experience and skill of David Abbott, who goes through, takes lead position. Now James Appleby trying to do the same thing. It's a run along the straight. Ian Scruton still there in the lead of Class A and hanging on to second as they cross the line on the lap chart. Let's see, Alan Donnelly is closing up again. Donnelly running very quickly. Remember, he was fastest man in class in race one. He was pole position for class at the start of the meeting. And after that little errant moment at the Montreal hairpin earlier on, he does seem to be knuckling back down and closing in on his championship rival, Ian Scruton. Scruton still leads the championship, and he's going to have a good healthy lead. Even if Scruton was to non-finish here, he would still retain the championship lead going to our next meeting at Brands Hatch. Scruton trying absolutely everything he knows, but Donnelly has doggedly defended the inside line where appropriate. Oh, Scruton goes wide. He could have easily clattered into Andy Mollison, but Mollison read that well. He's going to come back up the inside again. Mollison, I don't think, has got the pace to be able to consistently get in front of these cars. Scruton off onto the dirt again. Oh dear, Mollison goes through. If Scruton makes another mistake, he might just be able to break the toe and get away, a bit like Ken Bateman has done up front. And remember that Mollison in the white car is actually quicker than the class leader in terms of lap times. Peter Dendy Sadler in the mix as well. This is going to be a great fillip for Peter, who's very close to the championship class leader. He's going to take massive confidence, but James Appleby in front now. Appleby going for a double. David Abbott in second position. These two having their own race as well. Look, touring car style contact into the back of Appleby. I'm sure David Abbott didn't mean that to happen, but Appleby gets punted and he's off, and David Abbott back into the race lead. I'm sure there was no malice in that. It was just very close racing between the pair, and David Abbott is the race leader. James Appleby surely is not going to be able to come back from that. You saw David Abbott come right off the gas after that happened. So the Daniels Motorsport car leads this one. James Appleby has recovered well and is in second position, but it did look like he was on his way to potentially another win. David Abbott certainly wouldn't want to have won it that way, but there he is. I don't think there's going to be any judicial after the race for that. Abbott in front. He's got the fastest lap of the race. That was on lap 4, 2 minutes 24.044, averaging virtually 75 miles an hour. So he's run very strongly back on lap 4. Alan Donnelly quickest in Class A. Donnelly looking for 4th place. I've got to take my hat off to Ken Bateman, who's been a little bit of a giant killer this weekend, so certainly this race, coming up into 3rd place to share the class wins with Andy Mollison over the 2 races. But here is Abbott once again at the head of the field. He's been in a race this weekend. This has been marvellous stuff from the Zetec S boys. So David Abbott clear by just over a second on the circuit timing split. Appleby in second. It's going to be a 1st and 2nd each, with Abbott having taken pole and 2 fastest laps. Appleby will be looking at fastest laps for future rounds. Down the straight for the last time. Abbott's well clear, but it was a real close thing right up until Murray's for the penultimate time. The gap's still not too far, so Appleby, as we said, has recovered well. Look at the gap they got over the rest of the field. 24 seconds over Ken Bateman, who's still winning Class B and in 3rd place overall. But David Abbott heading for his 9th win of the season out of 10 races. It's going to be 10 fastest laps out of 10. So through Coram for the last time. Obviously, with just the 2 competitors, the championship lead for Abbott was never ever going to be in doubt. But statistically, now has been beaten, which underlines the very competitive nature of these cars. So David Abbott will go through, and there's the checkered flag. Abbott takes the win now from James Appleby. A fair way back is Ken Bateman, who is going to pick up class honours for Class B. The older Zetecs. Alan Donnelly at the moment still in front in Class A ahead of Ian Scruton. It looks like the battle was tempered somewhat over the last couple of laps. Here comes Ken Bateman. What a terrific drive from the Class B driver. Class win, 3rd position overall, his best overall finish of the year. There's Alan Donnelly, double win for him. Ian Scruton 2nd, then Andy Mollison, Peter Dendy-Sadler. Keith Chapman will take 3rd position in class, and just coming into shot was Nick Tiley on his farewell to the Vortex Dunlop Ford Fiesta Championship here at Snet. Abbott wins, fastest lap 2. James Appleby 2nd. Ken Bateman class win for him in 3rd. Alan Donnelly also a class winner in 4th place. Ian Scruton 2nd, continues to lead his class in the championship. Andrew Mollison continues to lead his class as well. He was 6th. Peter Dendy-Sadler next from Keith Chapman, then Nick Tiley, Peter Lloyd and Mike Hooper completing our runners.